right, good morning. So I'm the last person between you and the break, so I'll just take 15 minutes and only one slide. Last Thursday, I had the honor of meeting President Obama and shaking his hand in State College at Penn University. Now, he came to Penn State not as a big campaign or, getting support for legislation. He came to talk about smarter buildings. And that's really cool. Penn State is working with us on a project in Philadelphia Naval Yard to really create a showcase of what is the art of possibility with buildings. And for President Obama to come there and sincerely really look at the progress. He went through the labs. He talked to the members of this consortium and talked to students in this field about his new Better Building Initiative and how he's going to put money into this initiative. In fact, he said, you show me the ideas, I'll show you the money. And he said, I'll show you the money. I mean, you got to love that, right? And he's going to take the money from the big oil companies that are frankly doing pretty well on their own and move it into this space really to build incentives and favorable financing for commercial buildings, for commercial businesses, to become smarter, to become greener. So that's really, really good news. And one of my favorite things he said was, buildings of all the green initiatives probably aren't the most sexy, but they're among the most important because buildings consume 40% of the energy. They're responsible for 40% of the carbon footprint. So why are buildings responsible for 40% of the energy usage? Why in Manhattan is 80% of the carbon footprint from buildings, not from traffic, not from planes, not from shipping? Why is it predicted that by 2025, buildings will be the #1 carbon emitter in the world? So my idea is we should start by asking the buildings. Now, how is this possible? Well, in the last 15 years, there's been a proliferation of sensor technology in buildings. And the equipment in buildings has become so smart that it is possible to do this. In fact, I believe we've reached a tipping point that's really bringing on a new era that wasn't possible before. By the number of smart sensors and the smart equipment that's in buildings, and the bandwidth to be able to process it, the processing power to be able to process it at the right price point. One of the things that really launched IBM into this was a study done by the climate groups, Smart 2020, probably many of you have seen that, for McKinsey. And basically what it said was, if you just take the existing communication technology and IT technology that's available today and apply it to this space of buildings, there's an opportunity to save $341 billion between now and the year 2020. No new invention needed. And that's a huge number. So I took this idea to our chairman, Sam Palmisano, a little bit over a year ago, hoping that he would back a program in IBM for smarter buildings. And he listened intently, and he not only got fully behind this, but said, can we make corporate headquarters a smarter building? Can we make IBM's 100 million square feet of real estate smarter in the way you're talking about? So the first project I jumped into was, how can I do that for IBM? Started a project in Armonk, started a project in one of our biggest energy-using sites, not too far from here in Rochester, Minnesota, a 3.3 million square foot site. So I went to our IBM real estate site operations folks and said, okay, I'm the IT guy and I'm going to help you be more energy efficient. And they said, yeah, right. Maybe you don't know, Dave, but IBM real estate site operations is some of the most advanced thinking group in the world. We've cut our energy emissions by 6% year on year for the last 10 years. We have exceeded our goals for reducing carbon footprint by over 50%. I don't think you're going to be able to help us very much. And I said, well, Sam said that we have to do this, so you've got to do it with me. And I guess that's why I appreciated President Obama coming to Penn State, because it's that type of leadership that I think is going to help to move us forward. So they said, all right. Wasn't that easy, but maybe we could eke out another 2 or 3% energy savings on top of what we're already doing. And I said, but what's going to make the right business case? How much do we have to save based on the investment I'm talking about doing? And they said, well, that's going to be 5%. 9 months later, we were up to 8% energy savings on top of their 6%. 9 months later, they're out there saying, we've got a great new way to move forward in this space. They've become kind of our biggest advocates now. They're using a figure of a 200% return on investment. So what is it that I'm talking about, and why is IBM in this space? Well, if you look at the challenges of buildings, complex portfolios of buildings, manufacturing sites, there's 3 big challenges. One is there's a lot of disparate systems out there. An individual building is pretty straightforward, but when you go to a portfolio or a college campus or if you look at the portfolio of buildings that the U.S. government has, there's lots of different suppliers, lots of different building management systems, lots of different versions of those systems, and you need a way to bring it all together. That's what is not out there. How can you bring all the data together in one end-to-end view? So we're talking about a lot of data when you tackle that problem. A lot of data. And guess what? That's what IBM's good at. Taking lots of data and streaming it and sorting it and sifting it and putting it in a warehouse and then doing the analytics on it and saying, okay, where do we start? Okay, we start over here in this building. What do we do with this building? Well, let's look at all the data from that building and really drill down and try to make some improvement. So this is a natural space for IBM. It takes a tremendous ability to take a lot of data and make sense of it very quickly, but we've been doing that in IT-intensive industries for a long time now. The major banking of the world, the major telcos of the world, the stock market. It's just applying that technology to this space. So my work really was in interfacing our technology to the building management systems. So we're not about going down to the sensor level. We rely on the Johnson Controls and the Schneider Electrics of the world, the Eatons of the world, to do that. We provide an open platform to bring all of that data forward. We provide the ability to bring it all into a warehouse. And frankly, that's the first thing that our real estate and site operations team said to me when we got in the project and said, wow, we've never been able to get this end-to-end view before. It provided all kinds of new insight that they didn't have. Now, when I talk about a lot of data, that Rochester, Minnesota site, we've gotten 1/3 of the way through the project. We've connected to 80,000 points in that campus. So we're sampling from 80,000 smart sensors, 1/3 of the way through it. We looked at the 80,000 points of data, working with the people that really understand building and building management systems, and selected 10,000 of those as critical for real-time optimization of energy and performance of those buildings, and decided to sample them every 15 minutes. So if you do the math, 10,000 points every 15 minutes, 7 days a week, is 6.7 million samplings that you have to do analytics on a week. And now if you go out to the full implementation, that gets you to 21 million samplings every week. And if you save that data for historical comparisons and strategic analytics, all of a sudden you can see the amount of data. So all of a sudden I have this idea, this big idea, that what the world really needs is this capability, and I call it the capability to listen to buildings. But more than listening to buildings, I like to think of it as the building whisperer. So that's what I've been going around calling myself lately, the building whisperer. The building whisperer understands how to listen to buildings holistically, how to listen to a campus holistically. But the building whisperer, more importantly, knows how to tame that building in its wasteful energy and wasteful water ways. And all of a sudden, I stopped having a job and I started having a mission. So I just feel so lucky at this point in my career to be on this mission and to have Sam behind me and to have the President of the United States talking about the importance of space. So I really think, you know, the planets are aligning on this. And being in this conference the last couple of days and having the 2.5-hour luncheon session yesterday, I'm just very excited about, you know, that people get it. I do think we're at this tipping point. I do think the planets are aligned. I think it's time to move forward. So I think it's possible. Everything's there. It's just up to us to move forward. And I guess given the time, my summary of this would be, we're at a point where we can start the world all over again. And we can start by doing it one building at a time. It's just up to us. So, any questions? Yes?
Can you talk a little bit more about some of the economics involved in, say, a pilot project, levels of investment, what type of areas you need to put metering into, capture some local?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that's asked, but the point is most of the instrumentation is already in place. We had to do some investment in making sure the network, the integration to those devices and the network was up to speed. We recommend IP-based networks. Our research guys said, wow, just putting in this new IP network, everything is so instantaneous. But the investment's not great. There's not a lot of new technology. It's just about networking and collecting it. And as I said, the investment that we made in our Rochester plant has shown a great business value analysis of a 200% return on investment. So for every dollar invested, we're getting $2 back. And that's just, you know, we're going to find ways to drive that more efficiently. It's got to make economic sense. It's not just about energy management by itself, but how we can improve operational efficiency. It's a big part of this, and how we can achieve space management efficiency, always tied to energy management. I mean, if you have that end-to-end view and really understand your space management requirements, the best way to save energy is to better manage your space, or to free up space instead of having to build another building when you don't need it, or heat a building when it's not needed. The type of alerts that we're getting real time on energy and performance optimization create work orders that say, here's the problem in this building, in this air handling unit. Here's the part you need. While you're there, you should do the preventive maintenance that was scheduled a month from now, so you don't have to make 2 trips. So this system that I'm talking about that we've developed allows you to do that maintenance much more efficient at much lower energy. That's the important point. But we're going to produce case studies with the business value as a way to push that forward. Is there another question over here? I saw a hand. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much.